presentation is perhaps a little bit not as the other because it's a two-voice presentation. And Mr. Gabashev here, which is reindeer herder, also a co-researcher invited in our laboratory. And our lectures are in two parts. The first one talks about how indigenous people of Siberia are observing changes in climate and in biodiversity, how they are close to the natural environment, and how they are frontline witnesses of current changes. And the second part is how indigenous knowledge can collaborate, complement scientific approach of such changes. So let's start first with introductive information about Siberia. I don't know the level of your knowledge about Siberia. This is just to show you here it's the Arctic, okay? And now you see we will talk about this huge geographic region, which is Siberia. So here you have a map with the different names of peoples. Sorry, I'm doing something with my screen. So you have in Siberia, you see, this is from the Ural region, the geographical Siberia until the Bering Strait. Okay, and from the very Arctic Sea to the very southern frontier with China, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan. And for all these indigenous people, there are very often nomadic people, villagers, and very few townspeople. This is an important criteria. No, c'est pas ça. Sorry, I did something. I'm supposed to. Oh my God, sorry. Yeah, okay. No.
It all works fine. We still see the map. Okay.
Okay.
Now it has changed.
Okay.
And we're back to the map, and now.
Okay, the animation doesn't work. Okay, no problem. Okay. So, here you see just basic information about the indigenous people of Siberia. So you have officially recognized 40 indigenous peoples called of the North Siberia and Far East of the Russian Federation, with a population less than 50,000 peoples, and they are considered to be minorities. So altogether, they are around 2% of the population of the Russian Federation. 70% of them are living in small villages, remote villages, or as nomads in Siberia. And around from those 70%, around 10 until 20% are nomads in some places, and in other places you don't have any nomads anymore. So it's very different situation according to the regions and villages. And what we notice also is an important increase of the population of those minorities. They are defended by a solely association, which is called the Russian Association of the Indigenous People of the North, RIPON in English. They have a website, very well documented, if you are interested. And also you have other indigenous people in Siberia, officially recognized. They have a population more than 50,000 peoples, and you see the list on the screen. So the Sakha, Buryat, Altai, Komi, Perniak, Tuvan, etc. And some of them have their own republic. This is a regional district within Russian Federation, and altogether, indigenous peoples, minorities, and other indigenous people of Russian Federation represent only 3% of the total population of the Russian Federation. So this is an important aspect to take in mind, to keep in mind. And most of languages of minorities are considered to be endangered or under danger of disappearance. And another aspect to keep in mind for Siberia is that Siberia represents 70-something% of the territory of Russian Federation, and only 28% of the population of Russian Federation live there. So it's very not so much populated. So just to consider, be careful when you use the term of Siberia. You see that there is a geographical meaning. This is the meaning I use. So it's from the Ural to the Bering Strait, from the Arctic to the southern frontiers of Russia. But you also have administrative meaning. I won't enter the details, but be careful when you use this word to be sure the meaning you use. So in Russian, Siberia is a specific administrative region. But in this presentation, I use Siberia only in the meaning, geographical meaning. In case you will have, when Mr. Gabyshev will talk some questions, do not hesitate to chat, okay? This is just to show you that within those big regions of Siberia, you have many district regions and so far, and it is, of course, complicating the management of those territories because you have different levels of laws, decrees, etc. Okay, so more about culture and languages. You know that in Siberia you have 10 linguistic families. I won't enter the detail, but it's just to show you the richness in terms of languages and culture. So within these big families of indigenous language, yes, you have, of course, languages, and within each language you have many dialects. So I took the examples. So you see here, I'm back to the blue patch. No, so not the blue, the green one for Evenki, Even, and the other Tungusic languages. Okay. I took two languages. So the Even language, the Evens are 19,000 people in Siberia, and the Evenki are 70-something thousand in Russia and China. And within the Even language, you have 12 dialects recognized distinct. Okay, and for Evenki, you have 51 dialects recognized distinct. So you see, it's very subdivided languages. And here, what is also interesting is that even being living in remote places, they have been in contact with many different cultural areas, such as Turkic, Chukotko-Kamchadal, or Mongol, Samoyedic, and so far. So all those languages have a lot of borrowings. In addition, a specificity of those languages, and it's interesting for our topic, is that they have a very detailed vocabulary for things from nature. So here it's the Even, the population Even, terms for the different parts of the reindeer antlers. So you see in the diagram that each part of the antlers have its specific term. Okay, so you see the level of detailing the elements of the environment, and it is the same for the terminology of the snow, of the vegetal cover, of the different landscape, topographic aspects, and so far. So it's very rich language for talking about the natural environment. So another important aspect of Siberia is that most of Siberian people are really depending on the natural environment for surviving through reindeer herding, fishing, and hunting. I will enter more the detail. So the natural environment for them is not only a nice place to live, to enjoy beauty and so far, it's really a place for surviving. They are really depending on the good state of the natural environment. Okay, so some information about the different types of reindeer herding in Siberia. You have two types of it. So large-scale reindeer herding with herds with around, it can be 600 until several thousands. This picture is from Kamchatka. I took during a field work, an anthropological field work. It's a herd of 2,000 reindeer. And the specificity is more, at the exception of here, but it's more tundra. It's a more reindeer herding you can find in tundra. And the specificity is that most reindeer are not so much domesticated. They are frightened by the human. So when you gather the herd, they are going away from people. Reindeer herding you can find in many places of the Arctic. In Norway, Sweden, Finland, among the Sami people, in Russia, Mongolia, in China also. Yes, and it's around 20 people in the Arctic are dealing with reindeer herding, and an estimation from the International Center of Reindeer Husbandry in Kautokeino estimate that there is 100,000 reindeer herders in the world, and they are occupying around 4 million square kilometers of pastures. They are using. A specificity of reindeer herding is that reindeer is usually, traditionally in many cultures, a property of one people. Okay, one of the specificity of the reindeer is that they are independent from humans. So basically, they can live without humans. Many herders said that reindeer can live without us, but we cannot live without reindeer. You can find these sentences among almost all reindeer herders in Siberia, and I'm sure not only in Siberia. So usually those groups, except in summer, are nomadizing in Siberia. So with all the family, with wife, children during the summer, or small children, around 4-5 times a year. You find it among the Sami of Russia, the Even, Nenets, Enyets, Komi, Dolgan, Chukchi, Yukagir, and Koryak in Kamchatka. And this picture was among the Even of Kamchatka. And now they are not milking the reindeer. Okay, so this is the type of reindeer herding you find among the Sami and among the Nenets also. Okay, so now the other reindeer herding type is reindeer herding with small herds. So the herd can be for one person kind of from 10 reindeer to several hundred of reindeer. So it's completely another scale. And the people are not usually eating their reindeer. The reindeer are like for, first of all, transport purposes. Okay, it's used as transport. So you see here it's sledge in any time, and in the summer they are riding reindeer. So it's typical for such reindeer herding. The reindeer they are riding reindeer. You find such type of reindeer herding in taiga zone. and you find it among the Evenki, the Tofala, the Tuva-Toju, the Tsaten, the Orok, and in the past among the Ulch, and yes. So they are milking the reindeer in summer, and the reindeer milk is one of the most important food with fish during the summer. According to my research, this is a very clever management of the environment, because they have the reindeer as and on the one hand it's a transport, and on the other hand it's a kind of capital, because you have a stock of meat always with you, and in case of scarcity you know that you can slaughter a reindeer and have something to eat. So what are they eating? They are eating the products from different hunting. So I will talk about it. And of course hunting is very often you go to hunt, you have nothing. So it's important to have this capital of meat always with you. And it means also that they are managing the environment for all purposes, so different hunting to different animals, and also for the requirements for reindeer herding. So to have the good pasture in the right moment in the year, because I don't know if you know about it, but reindeer have a very complicated menu. They are eating different herbs and so far, and lichen and leaves of different bushes and small trees, depending on the year. Mr. Gabchev will tell you more about it. So they are depending on both reindeer and hunting and fishing. So just to show you the level of domestication of reindeer in such small scale reindeer herding. You see the little box. It's a cradle. Within it, you have a very small baby, several months only, and the reindeer is the oldest riding reindeer, so it's more quiet, and they trust to their reindeer the little baby for nomadization. So it's another picture, not mine, but from the family picture book album from reindeer herding family. So you see the small orphan reindeer that lost his mother, attacked by predator, is adopted as a member of the family, and you see on the picture down he's sleeping within the tent, so in the tent of humans. So it's just to tell you the closeness between humans and reindeer in such reindeer herding. This is just to show you how people nomadize. In such reindeer herding, people are almost ideally, I'm talking about an ideal, always moving, be it in spring, winter, summers, and autumn. They are always moving. Here you have a caravan of reindeer for only one tent. So it's around something like 10 reindeer with pack saddle, with all the stuff for cooking, for eating, for sewing. And there is a myth that nomadic people transport very few things, but it's wrong. Nomadic people transport a lot of things. This is just also to show you that a reindeer, according to the representation of here it's Evenki, they consider that some reindeer with specific robe are considered to be elected by the spirits of the natural environment to protect the herd. So this reindeer was a sacred reindeer protecting the herd of Andreve in this region. This is a picture from northern Yakutia among the Even, and you see reindeer are always, especially during the reindeer herding days, so this is festival, this is what Marcel Mauss, this French sociologist or the father of anthropology, called the fait social total, so social total fact, this event, collective event where everything is solved, economic agreements, weddings, and so far. So the important thing is to decorate the reindeer. So, and you see that there is an identity in each motif used for decorating the reindeer. So decorating a reindeer is to show how good you are in handicraft, but also to show your identity. Okay, now about hunting. Hunting among this Evenki, or you can say it's among all this small-scale reindeer herding. You have two types of hunting. You have the main hunting, which is for eating, so food game are wild reindeer, elk, or moose, if you prefer, roe deer, red deer, migratory birds, some, so duck mostly, the rest are forbidden to kill, black grouse, snow partridge, and very occasionally bear, but it's an entire lesson to explain this hunting, and fur game. So this hunting is for having the only income of the year. So a big part of such reindeer herders have only one income in the year, which comes from sable hunting. So they are really relying on the price of the sable, which is regulated by the international market, which is decided in auction, for instance, in St. Petersburg, but also in Fairbanks. And all their year depends on this price of the sable. Okay, another activities they have, and you can find all around the Arctic, is fishing, different fishing. So down you can see the fishing under the ice, and you can find it all around the Arctic, in all Siberia, Alaska, Canada, and Northern Europe. Everyone is practicing, even non-native people. On the top you have two pictures I took in Kamchatka among Even fishermen, and this group is living that do not have any reindeer. They only live from fishing and dog sledding. And on the bottom you have an old picture from Nif people. Now, as far as I know, there is no more Nif people. They are living in close to Sakhalin and to Primorsky Krai. It's a very southeastern zone of Siberia, and they were entirely relying on fish. And the people from southeastern Siberia, like the Tungus of the Amur River and the Nif, developed a really science or very impressive skills in using fish skin. For instance, you have here this dress is entirely done with fish skins. Some parts are colored with a natural pigment. So you see, it's really impressive, and when you touch it, it's very smooth and soft, and very comfortable. Okay. You have also all around the Arctic and in Siberia, except for the picture on which are done in Umanak among the Inuit. But you have and you had dog sledding. You have and it's still important, but it's decreasing. So you have also less expected horse herding, especially in central Yakutia. For instance, the picture with snow, it's small horses. You live with a very big fur, They are supporting temperatures with minus 50 Celsius degrees. It's very impressive, and they are good for going to hunt, to bring ice home, to even among some groups, they are used for guiding the reindeer herd. So it's really a tool for herders. And on the bottom here, I don't know if you see my, yes, you have, it's in Kamchatka. During the summer, they use some horses to survey the herd, but also to charge the most heavy parts of the the food, because a horse can wear much more than a reindeer. So horses are also present in Siberia. And finally, about the different economic activities, the picking berries is a crucial activity for here native people, non-native people, and all the summer is occupied by gathering berries for family use, but also for in some parts also for selling it to merchant and have some incomes. Okay. And also, of course, at the family level, they are used as medical treatment or for enhancing the organism. Okay, now I will leave the floor to Mr. Gabishev. And first of all, do you know what is ecosystem services? Nowadays, it is a very important notion in the frame of all discussion about international discussion about the state of the natural environment, the state of the biodiversity. Perhaps you know about this organism, which is IBES, Intergovernmental Platform, for Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, which aims to make an assessment of the state of the biodiversity and to produce abstract for policymakers in order to try to influence governments to improve their behavior towards nature. So the notion of ecosystem services, it very globally and roughly is what the nature give to humans. And each society has its own understanding of what is ecosystem services. And with Mr. Gabishev, we took part to different events related to such assessments. And the question, because he doesn't speak English, so I needed to find a translation. In Russian, it sounds strange, like ekosystemные услуги, but I looked for this term, and in Evenki, in his native language, this term exists. It's called Bura Buneven, which means what the nature gives. So you see, this concept of the what the nature give to humans exists in traditional culture, which is not very surprising. So now I will leave him the floor. He will probably speak mostly in in Evenki language, in his own language, and I will translate it. Oh yes, here is the map and where his community is living. We are the Evenki, and we are nomadizing all around the year in different places of the taiga, and we are always taking care of nature and really make efforts not to use too much from the natural environment. We are hunting in a sustainable way in order to leave something to hunt and to leave for our children and grandchildren and the next generation. From the animals we are hunting, we use everything, be it the skin of the body, be it the skin of the legs, as you can see, and we are making a lot of work. We are treating them in order to transform it into clothes, bags. On the picture, you see a piece of leather, of skin, which was smoked with a specific piece of wood, in order it won't be, it will be waterproof and very resistant. And we must treat with smoke the skin only when the reindeer are gone from the encampment, because it's bad, especially for the young, the calves. And also, when there is a strong wind, we must not use this treatment with skin. For fishing, we are also always fishing only the quantity we need for the day or the next 2 days. We are not taking too much, because this is a fragile population of fish, so we need to be careful in using this resource. In order not to exhaust this reserve of fish, we must stay something like 3-4 days maximum and fish 3-4 days in one place. And then we need to nomadize in order to don't fish anymore in this place, and to leave the population of fish to reproduce and to keep living there. And the domestic dog, are very important for us, because they are crucial for hunting, sable hunting, but also some of food hunting. It's also a good defense against predators, and also to protect the reindeer and the human against predators. And thanks to our dog, we can sleep quietly. And the dogs are understanding the language of humans. So from the very young age of dog, we must talk to our dog. Next. We are also using the trees and different bushes in our forest, but when we are constructing, like here, small hunting house or a storage house, we are always be careful in order not to take too much trees in one place, and we are picking trees in different places of the forest in order to keep the forest entire. When we are making this, you see on the long, very high legs, this storage house called Saiba in the dialect. We are picking the tree, cutting the tree around 300, 400 meters from the place we are constructing it. And also we are treating when we are constructing houses, as you can see, we are also using it for a treatment of body skin from wild reindeer, and the body skin are used as for the beds, the bed. And we are careful not to cut too many trees, because it's bad for the forest, and we need forest to live, and reindeer need forest to live. So we are very careful not to don't take too much from the natural environment. And also when we are living in tents, so it's tents. Usually they are living more often in tent from fabrics, and for this they need a structure in the wood. So for this they are taking already died trees and small trees in order, once again, not to take too much from the natural environment. And the old elders told us not to try to take less the fresh trees, and try to use more the dry trees. What are the requirements for a winter camp? A winter camp, so it's a winter, the part of the winter when it's around minus 40, 50 Celsius degrees. So we need the kind of small valley with slope. And also we need to have close to it a reserve of dry trees, so dead trees, let's say, because they are never cutting fresh trees, living trees. In winter, we know the level of cold, so the temperature, also by observing the smoke which is going out from the tent. You see in the picture here, which is completely blue because of the low brightness and because of the cold. There's going deep smoke and going vertically, so it's a way to see it's around minus 50. Taringingundu. And in such a cold, we know that we must not use too long our reindeer for sledge, because there is a low level of good air. So we must not force our reindeer to work too much in such weather, and we need to make them free earlier so they can graze quietly. Why we need slope close to the winter camp? You see, it's a picture of slope, almost vertical. And you see on the slope, you have always sort of soft and then dry snow, so not scab-like snow, that a reindeer can dig easily and reach the lichen, and also taraguchas, bolgit. And also on such places, you have very often a specific tree called in Latin Pinus pumila, and in Evenki Bolgikta, in Even language Bolgit. And this tree, you see, it's during the summer, the branches are going up to the sky, up to the sky, in direction. They are vertical. But in winter, with the cold, the branches are falling close to the ground. And for some reason, close to these trees, you have always smoothy, soft and dry snow that the reindeer can dig, and always close you have lichen. Oui. Uh-huh. What are the requirements for this first spring camp is that we need, as you see on the picture on the right, a landscape with many places without snow that they call ilekak, and it's good for reindeer to graze, and it's important moment because it's calving period, and in order the female will give birth to small reindeer quietly, they are attaching the working reindeer close to the encampment, as you can see on the picture. Ilekak kuchap. If you attach the working reindeer, so riding reindeer and sledge reindeer, so the female can graze quietly, give birth quietly. Here you can see in the picture, this is a young lady, a young female reindeer, and she's not experimented in being a mother. So in order to avoid this young mother to leave her baby, they are attaching her close to the camp, so the baby can eat the milk, and the mother can learn how to be a mother. And sometimes, if we see that the mother is not attached to her baby, we can keep several days attached to the reindeer. Of course, they are feeding this reindeer by attaching her close to lichen and something, so she has something to eat, and she can get used to her baby. And some female, it's very rare, but it happens. So you need to force the mother to give milk to the little baby. One of the first plants to go to appear close to the end of the spring with snow, because they have two spring, one with snow, the period of thawing snow, so melting snow, and the other without snow. So it's Snowdrop. You can see on the picture, and it's called the cocoa awunen, so the hat of the cocoa. Yeah. Écoute. Cocoa mountain. Re? Chat. Elders in the past were using these flowers, the snowdrop, in order to make a kind of ritual treatment of their gun. So he said his word was to treat their gun before the hunting. And after that, after the eclosion of the snowdrop, you have what they call the cocoa tobacco. So this is Lysoperdon. You see this little mushroom. We all know, I think, and it's called the tobacco of the cocoa. Many parts of plants are called the different tools for the cocoa. Oops, sorry. For instance, the Eevee is called the cook mountain, which is the lasso of the cocoa. Cocoa. I have problems, sorry. Yes. So you can see on the reindeer, summer camp, you see the place with the smoke fire, and it's close to the reindeer that are transporting the the stuff from one house, and everything is there: the tent, the fireplace, and the clothes, the food, the sewing instruments. Everything is within the pack saddle, and we are keeping this fire so the reindeer can come by themselves during the summer close to the encampment. And also, he said that because of climate change, the summer are changing, so it's getting more and more rainy, more and rain. So when you have rain, you don't have mosquitoes. When you don't have mosquitoes, the reindeer are not coming to the camp, so it creates problem. And also, when they are doing this smoke fire, they are using old trees in order to leave the alive the fresh trees. Taduk? And and you can see also on the picture the young people, so these teenager children, older children that are spending the summer with their parents, nomad parents. They are traveling around hundreds of kilometers by reindeer, and they are living there with their parents in order not to forget the Evenki language, practicing hunting, fishing, milking the reindeer, and the way of life. You can see this is a typical landscape very needed for the reindeer herding. It's called in Evenki Amnunna. It's a very flat and large river basin. And you see on the top picture you have a rest of ice. And in all seasons, this landscape is useful because, as you can see, in spring they are staying on the ice on the in order to avoid mosquitoes. In autumn, they are eating these horse trails, and this horse tail is very useful for the health of the reindeer because it's full of minerals and silicon that is very useful for the reindeer health. Yes. Non, on n'a pas fini. Ok. Okay. Okay, we will finish in 5 minutes. here you have three generation of reindeer, and it's important when you can have a three generation gathered, because when you have one mother, reindeer mother with many generation from her, the herd is very gathered. So here you have three generations, so the mother, the child from the last year, and the child from the calf from this year. Unfortunately, they were all killed by wolves in 2013. In the taiga, we are moving all the time, each week, etc. So we don't have electricity except from sun and engines, but it's very rare. So we don't have a fridge. So we need, when the temperature is going warmer, to to dry the meat in order to keep it for the coming months. So it's a way to keep the meat smoked and dried. As you can see, and you can see on the picture, among the nomads you have many young people. At least you have some young people, and they are also enjoying new items such as DVD players, smartphone, and so far. So here you can see a young couple watching a film, probably an American one, by eating traditional bread and living as nomad in the taiga. Okay, I don't know if we still have time or we need to continue in the next lecture next Monday. Can you answer me? Perhaps we may stop. I don't have answer. Perhaps we must leave this for the next lecture on Monday, because it will be more logical with the next lecture. Is that okay? Well, I can say in 2 words that from 2005, local people start to talk by themselves without any specific question from scientists about something wrong going within the natural environment. So they noticed that their winter, the snow period were shortened around for 2 months, 3 months. They noticed also extinction of some vegetal and animal species. The appearance of new species of birds, for instance, and also the decrease of animal species except predators. We can see among almost in all Siberia an abnormal development of population of predators, and the herders are linking those the changes in weather and climate with the increase of predators. And also what they noticed between 2005 and 2010 is the development of parasitic illnesses among the reindeer, and also new flies appearing that are laying their larvae within the reindeer, the young reindeer antlers, and it raises infection. And sometimes, if it's not treated, it raises the death of the reindeer. So now, from around more than 10 years now, they very often need to clean each day the young antlers of the reindeer from this larvae. Otherwise, the reindeer will get sick. And they link it with the disruption they observe in climate, in weather. This is not the same. I'm not confusing. Okay. Also, they notice that even if there is many summer that are more rainy than in the past, they see an increase of fires that are coming raised by also human activity, industrial development, but also some summer are abnormally hot, and it raises fires, and those fires are destructing some pastures. And also there was a key period in this region in 2001. They were talking about only about that, that they had no snow. And they said when you don't have snow, kind of 5 centimeters for Siberia, it's really a huge anomaly. It's a problem because all the frost from the ground, from the permafrost, is raising outside, and it was very cold. The reindeer should walk a lot to find eating, and they were very thin and ill, and it was a catastrophic year in this region in 2011-12. So this topic of how did they say? They said the climate lose completely its logic. So there's a panic on board that there is no snow. Also, it creates problem for the insulation of the tents, because usually they are making small, let's say, wall from snow in order to create an insulation from outside to the tent. And they had no this possibility, so people were freezing in their tents. And an important aspect, and then I will finish on it, that they are perceiving changes in climate and biodiversity together. They are not isolating climate change on the one side and biodiversity change in the other side. For them, everything is interrelated, and they are right, interdependent, and they have this practical, concrete, let's say, scientific knowledge, but in the same time, they have this understanding of the environment being animated by spirits. So for them, Bura, the natural environment, is on the same time the trees, the rivers, the mountains, the animals, etc., physical, biophysical environment, and in the same time the spirits that are inhabiting the natural environment and managing the natural environment. So sometimes you hear from the discourses about changes in climate and biodiversity that this is Bura, this biophysical environment, and the spirits inhabiting it that are getting angry against human activity, bad treatment during mining, industrial development, and so far, and they are having a revenge by making disorder in climate and biodiversity to punish humans for bad treatment toward nature. And this understanding, which is interesting, you can find it in the ant, and also in Africa also. This understanding that humans are performing, having bad treatment for the environment is angry and having revenge. So you see that you can have a very detailed practical knowledge about what is happening, but also this belief in spirits. So I think we can finish now. The next lecture, we will be very concrete in very precise in the type of knowledge about the environment, so typology of snow, etc., and how indigenous people, in that case, Evenki use it for analyzing the changes they are observing. Thank you.